Okay, Brian, I'm live. Okay. Okay, so this is the getting started with the Fulbright. It looks like we are having some interesting feedback with the recording, but I'm going to go ahead and kind of go through. This software is usually pretty easy to use, but I know that sometimes it can be a little bit interesting. Just to let you guys know, I am currently in the Bahamas doing some renovations on my husband's home that he inherited, and so that's where you probably are going to hear some nails, and you probably are going to hear and maybe see the baby scroll around backwards. Not the baby backwards, but come through the back of the screen. So just to let you know, what we're going to look at today is to really think about what you should be doing in order to get prepared for the Fulbright. Now, the Fulbright, of course, starts with picking that country, which most of you have done, and then picking the opportunity, or vice versa. So you should by now know if you're going to do the ETA, or if you're going to go ahead and do a research, or one that's going to be maybe an art, or maybe one that's going to be independent study, maybe taking a degree in another country such as the UK. But the big thing is that you pick this country, a country that you have passion and that you're interested in, and you pick the opportunity. Most of you, if not all of you, have had the chance to speak with and get a sense of why and how. So if you haven't picked the country and the opportunity yet, now it's time to do that, because you really have about a good month to target the application. So the application process takes a little bit of time, because depending on what opportunity you do have to complete the actual application through Embark. And I sent you guys the link, and I sent you the kind of the steps to do Embark. Now, if any of you have applied for any opportunities like the Boreen or the Gilman, or even like the Marshall or the Mitchell, they also use Embark as a platform. So just FYI, you might need to use a different email address in order to establish the kind of the area, the Embark area. Now, when it comes to the Embark application, that is the place that you're going to put everything in. You're going to upload your transcripts, and these don't have to be official. They can be simply, off of BC Web, and you can PDF them and upload them. You will also be uploading, if necessary, if the country you pick, you will be uploading the language certification, how comfortable you are with the language. So you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that if that's necessary, that you reach out to a member of the faculty. If it is a language that you're going to be using that we don't offer classes in, then please let me know, and I can reach out to my colleagues and peers over at USF or even at another institution and get you certified. You will also be using the Embark application to upload or to request your reference letters or your recommendation letters. So you'll have to load the email address of the person that you're requesting into that area. Now, to let you know, if you are requesting the language evaluation and a letter of ref from the same professor, they will need to give you an additional email address for either the language evaluation or the letter. It's just another one of those tricky things about Embark, is that it doesn't give you the opportunity to use both a letter writer and a language evaluator. So Embark is really kind of the place, kind of think of it as the Common App where you put everything, right? So you'll be getting all your information in, you'll be getting your letter writers, you'll be getting your language, and then if you are doing a research project, this is where you'll also upload that very important letter of affiliation from the organization or the group that you're going to be working with in that country you've picked. Um, you're going to want to go ahead and make sure that Embark is ready to go, because this is how I'm also going to be able to track how complete your application is. Remember, the campus deadline for Eckerd is September 15th, because we do have to go ahead and get your interview scheduled so that we can get the application up to the Fulbright people by October 11th. So in many ways, Embark is the first place that you'll need to be going. You'll need to go into Embark, you'll need to create your password, your login, you'll need to start the information. Now, when you open it up the first time, it's going to be a little bit like, oh, what am I looking at? And so you're going to want to think that you can go back and forth with this document and this kind of software as many times as you want. It's not like you get one shot and that's it. In fact, you can access this, probably, most people access it, I'd say anywhere from 10 to 20 times during the application process. If you accidentally submit it, I can release it back to you. I have control over the Embark before it is sent up to Fulbright, so let me know if you have any technical glitches. Now, so you get Fulbright, you get Embark going, you start filling out all the information about your education, about travel, about any experiences that you've had, awards, anything that you can think of, because you really want to make this a very packed and full presentation of who you are. And so you'll be doing this kind of as you're working this month to kind of get yourself kind of prepared. We froze for a second. Okay. Your dad, Brian. Okay, sorry about that. It froze for a second. So, let me go ahead. Okay. What just happened? Okay, my encoder is starting. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. It seemed like it froze for a second, so I just wanted to make sure that we were broadcasting. So if we can go ahead, we'll go back to where we were with our options, which was to talk a little bit about what Embark does and how Embark can help you. So what we want to kind of think about in light of this is that you are going to be prepared to go ahead and get into Embark and then go ahead and move into kind of completing that. You want to make sure that you have that demographic information kind of prepared prior to September 15th, which is the deadline. Now, when we go ahead and finish that, that portion of the process, like I said, you can come back to Embark at any time. I can always release it to you. It is not ever kind of stopped until we submit it to Fulbright Commission, and that'll be October 11th. So just to let you know, let's go ahead and get Embark as complete as we can and make sure that you get your letter writers and you get all that information going. And then we can go ahead and move on to the most important part of the Fulbright process, which are the essays. Your personal statement of grant, if you are doing an actual research project, is 2 pages. Your actual personal statement is 1 page, no matter if it's research or teaching. If you're doing the ETA, you only get 1 page to describe your teaching and what you want to do and your service project. Now, let's say that you're not quite sure what you need to say in these documents. So the best bit of advice I can give you is the personal statement needs to be authentic, and it needs to represent who you are and what you want to do. In fact, earlier today I was speaking with a student, and we were talking a little bit about how you can write these personal statements. And what I told her is you want to think about the theme for the whole bit is being connected to the culture, collaborating with the culture, and critically investigating the culture. Now, when you think about these components, you really need to identify how you will relate to that country that you're interested in. And this, above everything, really needs to come through in your personal statement. It needs to show them that you want to be a cross-cultural communicator, that you want to be engaged in this conversation, and that ultimately you kind of see yourself on this opportunity as being the next stage of the process that you're going to be heading in as kind of your lifelong learning. And so it does take a bit of time to, I don't want to say to frame it, but to kind of frame it and get it comfortable, it would. Now, one of the things that, oh, thanks, Frederica, I just saw that. One of the things that is so hard when you're writing this personal statement is cutting through the crap, right? Making sure that you don't sound like you're too, that it's too unlike you, that it's too lofty, or that it's too big. I say the 2 things to avoid: don't great white hope it, and number 2, don't make it a beauty pageant answer. So you have to figure out how you can kind of put that presence, that you out there. So really the personal statement will take a bit of time to write. And it will take a bit of time to kind of edit or revise. But I'm here. I'm happy if you want to send me your drafts. We can take a look at them. Even though I'm not on campus right now, I'm happy to Skype. I'm happy to G-chat. I'm happy to FaceTime. We can, of course, in August when I get back on campus, we can sit down and talk about all of your drafts face to face. We'll also be having a writing workshop July 20th, and we'll be doing it live, just like this. But I think that you need to start writing this personal statement now if you haven't already. Now, the statement of teaching and the statement of grant. Now, depending on what you're doing, these are kind of similar but a little bit different. The statement of grant needs to clearly define what you want to research, who you want to research it with, and why is it important to do it there. The statement of teaching purpose needs to explain why you want to teach, how you see yourself in the classroom, what you want to do as the community project, and then of course the conclusion. So these documents, the statement of teaching is a 1 page, the statement of research can be up to 2 pages, needs to also, just like the personal statement, be fairly robust and fairly, I guess you'd say, targeted. Once again, you want to make sure that you really represent how you see yourself connected to that school and how you see yourself connected to that opportunity. Whether it's research or whether it's teaching, that connection is strong. So I recommend doing a lot of research about the country. Check out the State Department's travel site. Check out if there's a Fulbright Commission in that country, check that out. Make sure that you go ahead and you engage in learning about the country much more so than just kind of knowing geographically where it is. I also recommend that you look, and you can Google search it, look to see if there are any blogs from current or former Fulbrighters in that country, see what their experience was like. In fact, one of my students is having the opportunity to go to go to the country this summer, and she reached out to the Fulbright Commission, and she spoke with them, and they gave her a ton of good information, and she's even going to get a chance to possibly go and visit with an ETA, which is just an amazing way to prepare for these types of writing practices and experiences. Now, most of you are aware that we have a lot of Fulbrighters. Sydney Fulford is currently a Fulbrighter who's doing research in Germany. She's getting prepared to leave. We also have Henry Ashworth, who will be going to Nepal in March of next year with an ETA, so he's doing teaching. I just spoke with Jeff Good, who's in Indonesia doing research. And then I also spoke with Ross Bush, who's in Taiwan doing an ETA. And I also spoke with Sean Fitzpatrick, who's in Spain doing research. Those former and, well, recent graduates of Eckerd are happy to help you too. They do need a bit of time because if they're in country, their time zone's a little bit different. Like when I talked with Jeff, he is a full 12 hours ahead of me, so we had to kind of schedule when we could talk. But these are great resources to use because they have won the Fulbright, and they also know what it's like on your side. They know what it's like in the sense that you're not just having to write this as another application to check off the list. This isn't just like thinking about, okay, where do I want to go to grad school? This is about thinking about where do I want to go in the world and how do I want to get there. Not to mention that the Fulbright is, I don't want to say that you can apply for it as many times as you want. I mean, you can. But the Fulbright is a program that exists to encourage cross-cultural communication. So really getting comfortable with the country you're interested in is going to be key. So I will recommend that you do your research, you reach out to people, you get comfortable with the tools at hand, and that you think about these elements as you're writing the essay. Now, like I mentioned, the essay needs to be authentic. It needs to really capture you. So it's going to take more than one draft. So I normally will recommend going through probably anywhere from 4 to 5 kind of revision or strategies, and then probably anywhere from 4 to 5 edits. Now, this doesn't mean that you wholeheartedly junk the draft, but that you know that you're going to revisit it a number of times, and that you might be cutting, that you might be condensing, you might be changing things, and it's okay. I mentioned that one of the best things you can do is do a little bit of it a day. Think about this application as completing a marathon, and none of us would just get up and run 26 miles without training. So don't expect to complete the application all at once without any kind of practice. So I would suggest go ahead and kind of work towards getting confident in your writing by writing a little bit every day. Maybe give yourself 15 minutes or a half an hour, and just kind of use this as a way to kind of really train that muscle that will help you to write these essays, but also help you to complete the Embark application. The Embark application has 3 big questions at the very front. One is an abstract or a summary of your project, which means you need to, if it's teaching, you summarize why this country, how you feel you're going to be best suited for it, and what you ultimately want to do as the service project. The second part is host country engagement, which is drilling down on that specific country. And then at the very bottom of the page, you'll be completing kind of a where do you see yourself in the future. And the where do you see yourself in the future needs to really hit on how this experience will provide the foundation so that you can become a cross-cultural ambassador, that you will become a citizen of the world, that your hope for the future is really based on having this as a jumping off spot. Now, a lot of people are like, but what if that's not my goal? Well, think about how your Fulbright reader wants you to go out into the world, and think about who you want to be as a citizen. And also consider the fact that they're not going to go back and read this and in 15 years go, oh, wait a minute, this student didn't ever do anything that they said they were going to do. Let's take back the Fulbright. It's not that kind of experience. You guys all are going to be ambassadors in this very globalized world we live in. So you just need to figure out what does that look like in relation to your experience and what you want to do as a scholar, as a practitioner, and as a citizen of the world. And so this is another element of writing that is so important in the application. So it's not just these essays, it's also the actual application. It's thinking about how you feel and how you fit into the Fulbright mission. Um, so you have writing ahead of you. Get yourself your critical language evaluation, considering, right? And so you move into September 15th and you get ready for that deadline. Now you're going to be thinking about, I got to get ready for the interview. Now we'll have a separate session in September about preparing for the interview. Now, the interview is normally with anywhere from 3 to 5 members of our faculty or members of the professional community in the area. Now, these individuals are not meant to you or to a great candidate so that we can write a strong evaluation for you on the committee, the campus committee evaluation form. So we really want to kind of think about how we prepare you for the interview as kind of starting now, kind of thinking about when you're going to be asked to talk about your application and to talk about your essays and to talk about your plans, that you can think back to what you've written, what you've provided us, and what you've put forward for the committee. The interview usually lasts anywhere from 15 minutes to a half an hour, and then we will have a chit-chat session afterwards where we'll give you some feedback so that you will then be able to go back and edit and revise your application. After your interview, I will be returning your application to you via Embark, and you can go through and make those changes. And then once you've done those, we will go ahead and make another deadline that fits your schedule, and then we will make sure that they're all ready to go and submitted by October 11th to the Fulbright Commission. So this is kind of the stair step. Embark, essays, prepare for the interview, go to the interview, edit your application and your materials, and submit to Embark and submit to the Fulbright Commission. Once we submit it on October 11th, we probably won't hear anything back until January. In January, we will hear if you are a finalist. If you are a finalist, you then move into the country selection. So you get selected from the U.S. Fulbright Commission, and then it goes to the country commission to make that decision. Normally we hear anywhere from February through June, and so that can be a little bit nerve-wracking. And then once you've heard, if you've been accepted, then you go ahead and usually attend a seminar in New York, usually in July, and then you prepare to go on your Fulbright year. So in a nutshell, that's the Fulbright. If you have questions as you're going through this, I of course will be posting this webinar so that you can go ahead and take a look at it. I am also available, as I mentioned, through Google Hangout, through phone, through FaceTime, through Skype, through GChat, and then I will be on campus starting at the last couple weeks of July. I'm out of the country until July 18th, but then I will be back, and then I'm teaching autumn term, so I will be on campus 5 days a week. And then I am also, of course, teaching human experience and imagining justice. So I'll also be on campus 5 days a week during the fall. So I am here as a resource, and I'm also here to make sure that you guys are getting comfortable. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of open it up. I see that Frederica has posted I can hear you fine. So if there are any questions, if you want to go ahead and post them in kind of the little chat box, and then I can answer those questions. If there aren't any questions at this time, you can go ahead and schedule some time to chit chat with me, send me an email. I have the You Can Book Me page up and running. Of course, all those electronic meetings right now, and we can kind of go from there. So are there any questions, comments, or observations? Hey, baby Zach. For is October 11th. Deadline for the campus is September 15th. Oh, you're welcome, Brittany. Thank you for popping in. I hope everything's going well. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions popping up, so I'm going to go ahead and monitor the channel, but you guys are free to post those questions here. You're free to email those to me. You're free to also, meet with me when I get on campus or meet with me electronically. If you guys have any questions, concerns as you're going through this process, I'm here to help. And keep me posted. And I hope that the summer is going well and that you guys are all having great experiences and being very productive. No, Frederica, the process is the same for graduates. So your institution can be either the one that you're attending, if you are attending graduate school, they can work through. Or you can go and work through through Eckerd, who's you're an alum of, and we can work through that too. So you can either pick the institution that you are currently working at, if you're working in a master's program, or you can do you can have Eckerd as your affiliate university or college. If you choose, you can do no affiliation. That means you don't do an interview. And what that really comes down to is that you don't have that part or that parcel to add to your application. I've heard mixed reviews on whether that's a good or bad thing. We had a student who graduated in '99 who applied last year. She did not, of course, go to graduate school anywhere else, but we were her affiliate university or college. And so it really kind of comes, I guess you'd say, comes to your choice what you want to pick for the institution. I'm happy to still work with you if you choose a different institution. Does that help? Just to let you know, if you do pick, Eckerd and you're going through, you don't have to be on campus for interviews. Campus interviews can also be done via Skype and have been done via Skype. We've had students who've been studying abroad, and so we've had to do Skype interviews, which is no problem at all. You do not have to come to campus. Okay, I'm glad that helped. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and close out the session. If you guys do have any, like I said, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help, and I look forward to seeing how your application proceeds. So you guys have a great evening and a great rest of the week, and happy drafting. Of course, Federica. Just send me an email at robins.kk@eckerd.edu, and we can schedule away. Okay, well, like I said, you guys have a great rest of the night and keep me posted. Happy drafting. Have a good night.